Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. This is Joel Perez here for another edition of your Smackdown Live reviews, and it is your Smackdown Live review for the date of December 26th, 2017, one day after Christmas, going into the new year. Was Smackdown Live here tonight, and I'll give you this, it was not a bad edition of SmackDown Live here tonight. SmackDown Live actually came off as having a direction here tonight, where last week it seemed like they were just going to do rematches and they were just rehashing what they were doing at Clash of Champions last week. This week they actually feel like they are moving, like they are progressing towards the Royal Rumble, and I actually had somewhat of a decent time here tonight with SmackDown Live. Was it the perfect show? Hell no, but it was a decent show here tonight. Now, of course, I did miss an hour of this show here tonight, but from what I've seen from the replays on WWE's YouTube channel, I did not miss anything too grand. I have all the notes in place. I'm ready to go over almost everything on the show. Only thing I don't have notes for is Ruby Riott versus Naomi, and do you realistically care if I cover that or not? So that's pretty much the only thing I won't be covering here. But from what I've seen here tonight, it was a very decent edition of SmackDown Live. We are officially getting a United States Championship tournament, which is what I predicted, which is what I wanted. I love tournaments. Tournaments just have a great feel every time we see a tournament. Doesn't matter what capacity. This is only an 8-man tournament, but every time we see a tournament, it is something cool. It is something that you can get behind very easily, because a tournament, you're saying, all right, this is what's on the line, and this is why they're doing this. And it's so easy to get behind. This is who goes against who, and the winner of this matchup advances here. And it's interesting. That's what a tournament is. It creates interest easily. And I don't know why WWE doesn't do tournaments more often, but they are doing it this time around, and I'm glad about that, if you ask me. So we did get a tournament here tonight announced, and the first two matches of that tournament were had here tonight as well. So we're going to be talking about that. AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens was in the main event here tonight. Very good matchup between AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. Very surprising how they were able to put on a matchup here tonight that I would say was better than most of what they did this past summer when they were in a feud for the United States Championship, which is crazy to think. But we're going to be talking about that, and of course everything else that happened on SmackDown Live. Breezango and the Bludgeon Brothers. We're going to be talking pretty much all the storylines on SmackDown Live. Of course, I got to mention that Women's Royal Rumble. I got to, and all that right here on the review for the date of December 26, 2017. But of course, before we do go into that, like always, I want to go tell you guys to go check out everything else on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Of course, you got your Raw and SmackDown reviews each and every single week. The Raw review of which is up on the channel already. Make sure to go check that one out. If you missed that, that was uploaded last night. And of course, we're talking on there the return of John Cena, Roman Reigns defending his Intercontinental title against Samoa Joe, and of course, the oddball thing that happened last night was Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan winning the tag team titles. That was Monday Night Raw on Christmas, so a lot of people did miss that show. So if you did miss that show, make sure to go check it out. Check out the review, and of course, make sure to check it out if you want an educated opinion on Monday Night Raw last night. So make sure to go do that, and of course, make sure to go check out all the content from last week. Last week, Behind the Mic on Sunday, it was Behind the Mic episode number 50. We were talking huge news out there. Vince McMahon selling $100 million of WWE stock and putting that towards Alpha Entertainment, which is rumored to be the return of the XFL. We've got news on Daniel Bryan's return at this point being pretty much inevitable. And of course, the main news story, Rey Mysterio making his return to the WWE. So make sure to go check that one out. Behind the Mic, episode number 50. And on top of that, of course, you've got the top 10s that we are in the midst of. That was uploaded on Friday. The first one of those was uploaded on Friday. It was top 10 superstars of 2017. Next top 10 for sure is coming out tomorrow. So you saw top 10 superstars of 2017. Tomorrow you're going to be seeing top 10 worst superstars of 2017. And either on Thursday or Friday you're going to be seeing the top 10 matches of 2017 as well. So it's a big week for content. I love doing those top 10s. Really fun. And it is very short. So if you want shorter content on the Ringside Wrestling channel, because I know these Raw and SmackDown reviews aren't necessarily short, make sure to go check out the top 10 that I did last week on Friday. It was about 15 minutes long, and it was a very enjoyable watch. Of course, your Raw and SmackDown reviews, and all the other content that we do on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, pay-per-view reviews. We're at the end of the year. We've covered each and every single pay-per-view that has happened in 2017, including the NXT TakeOver special. So make sure to go check those out, all those reviews out. It is the end of the year. Why don't you go on binging on everything that we covered right here on Ringside Wrestling? Because I know I've certainly grown in the span of 1 year. Hopefully you have too. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to subscribe. Like I always say, if you have not subscribed yet, I do not know what you are waiting for. Of course, smash that like button. And the question of the day is, do you think that Daniel Bryan will return to in-ring competition by WrestleMania? Now, the story on Behind the Mic was that it was inevitable that Daniel Bryan would return to in-ring competition. And now, with WWE pushing this initiative of Shane McMahon versus Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan having some type of conflict each and every single week, having some type of beef each and every single week, a lot of people are speculating that that's going to end up as a match at WrestleMania. So I want you guys to tell me, when do you think Daniel Bryan is going to be stepping back in a WWE ring, if he steps back in a ring at all? That's going to be your question of the day. So make sure to go reply to that in the comment section below, because for now we go into your SmackDown Live review. And here tonight on SmackDown Live, we were live, of course, from the All-State Arena in Chicago, Illinois. Again, we were in Chicago last night for Monday Night Raw. We were doing the same for SmackDown Live. And another thing that was the same between those two shows is that the first hour was commercial free. But the show started off with Daniel Bryan coming down to the ring, and Bryan says it's great to be back in Chicago as the crowd pops. Bryan shows us a video of the WWE United States Champion Dolph Ziggler leaving the title in the ring last week, just days after winning the title at Clash of Champions. Bryan says he's been trying to call Ziggler all week, but he's not calling or texting him back. Bryan says due to last week's actions, it appears Ziggler has voluntarily relinquished the title. Bryan tells Ziggler, if he's watching, that they all wish him the best of luck. Fans chant for Rusev. Bryan says Ziggler is undoubtedly one of the all-time greats, but they need to move forward. And the fans chanting for Rusev just goes to show you that Rusev is incredibly over. Yet WWE, they had a number one contendership match up here tonight, and they did not decide to give it to Rusev. We'll talk about it. Anyways, Bryan announces a tournament to crown a new United States champion. Exactly what I wanted to hear. That was music to my ears. And the tournament starts tonight. He announces Bryan versus Bobby Roode as a first round match. Or Baron Corbin versus Bobby Roode as a first round match. Sorry, I have the name Daniel Bryan in the tongue. He goes to announce another match, but the music interrupts, and out comes Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. Gable says he's so happy for the U.S. title that they are wondering what Bryan is going to do about the SmackDown Tag Team title situation. Fans once again chant for Rusev Day. Bryan brings up their recent title shot and they complain about the other teams being in the match. They bring up their non-title win over the Usos last week, which if you ask me is enough to warrant them a number one contendership. And they also say that they proved they would have been champions if the other teams weren't in the Clash match. They enter the ring with Bryan now and say they have earned, and then the music of Aiden English, or the mic of Aiden English interrupts as he comes out with Rusev. Another loud chant for Rusev Day starts up. These guys are incredibly over. No doubt the most over tag team in WWE. No doubt about it. They sing about earning a title shot in Rusev Day until the New Day interrupts. Out they come to a pop. The New Day also go on about earning a title shot. Rusev gets a big pop when telling the New Day to shut up. This back and forth leads to Bryan announcing a triple threat for right now. The winners will also become the new number one contender to the Usos tag team titles. Bryan calls for a referee and out came the Usos for commentary. So it was Benjamin Gable versus Rusev Day versus the New Day. And this was a damn good match, no doubt about it, especially with the no commercials. You can already imagine how this matchup was enhanced. And there was a lot of the same chaos that we seen in the Fatal 4-Way match at Clash of Champions, bro. We got the Rusev Day near fall, where Rusev hit a double powerbomb on Benjamin and Gable, and Aiden English hit a frog splash on Gable for a huge near fall, had the crowd going crazy. Rusev locked in the accolade on both Chad Gable and Xavier Woods. That was a fantastic visual. Gable hit a big moonsault for a near fall as well, but in the end it was Benjamin and Gable who hit their double team move. I don't know what the hell the name of it is, but it's pretty much Shelton Benjamin has somebody, whoever it may be, in powerbomb position. It happened to be Big E in this matchup, and it's Chad Gable who comes down on them with like an elbow type move. So that's pretty much their double team move. They need to name that, but I don't know. That did lead to Benjamin and Gable winning the match, and I honestly don't understand why you would have Benjamin and Gable win the match. It honestly doesn't make a lot of sense to me for them to be the ones to win when you have Rusev Day over here, over as hell. Every city they go to, it's chants for Rusev Day. Yet you have these guys last week in some Christmas type match, in some trick or street fight, whatever the hell they were calling it last week on SmackDown Live. And then this week, you have them in the right situation, you have them in that number one contenders match, and you don't pull the trigger. Because I would much rather see Rusev Day versus the Usos at the Royal Rumble, with the Philadelphia crowd going absolutely crazy for these teams and putting on a good matchup, rather than Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, the crowd not as invested. And yeah, they put on a great matchup, but realistically, what's the end result when you get to that? So that's what I'd much rather have seen. But I mean, Rusev Day once again losing opportunity, bro. You call this the land of opportunity? You're hearing, the creative team is hearing the ovation that Rusev Day gets. And I mean, I have to read on Twitter, it's only a matter of time before Vince puts Rusev back on Raw and it becomes a over-the-top comedy garbage gimmick. And that's probably what's going to happen. Because you have these guys incredibly over, and it seems to be that when a duo gets themselves over, and it really wasn't intended for them to get over with this gimmick, they were just given the Rusev Day gimmick, and it probably wasn't intended for it to get over, yet Rusev and Aiden English ran with it, and they put their full effort into it, and it became over. That's usually where WWE decides to pull the plug, bro. It really is. How many gimmicks have you had that accidentally got over due to how well the superstar did with it? I mean, how many? It's amazing how many gimmicks have gotten over that way. And each and every single time, it seems that WWE is right there waiting to pull the plug, to raise up the ceiling a little bit more. You think you're at the top, but realistically, They're just going to pull you from the feet, take you from under, and you're done. You're done. It's ridiculous. They did it with Bad News Barrett. Remember how over Bad News Barrett got? And WWE would never pull the trigger. It is absolutely crazy how many times they have done that. And hopefully they do not do it with Rusev Day. Hopefully Rusev Day can get some type of opportunity. Because right now, it is absolutely ridiculous how Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin won this matchup when you saw in these segments how over Rusev Day was. We went to a backstage segment. It was Daniel Bryan watching the matchup from backstage. Shane McMahon walked in, and Shane brings up something that Bryan said last week that upset him, that he's turning into his dad, Vince McMahon. Shane takes exception to that. He admits Vince isn't the easiest guy to get along with. Shane says it's important they stick to certain things. He says Vince and his management style can be ruthless. He can be a cold-hearted SOB, but you need to give the man his due as he's built the empire brick by brick by himself. Shane says Vince has changed sports entertainment into what it is today. He revolutionized the business, and more importantly, he's Shane's father. Bryan agrees and says he's not trying to take away from Vince McMahon, but Shane has been throwing around his weight lately. Shane says, kind of like Bryan did with the United States title tournament. Shane questions Bryan's logic as Corbin has a legitimate title shot. Shane says Bryan should have done Rude versus Corbin for the title. Bryan says this is the land of opportunity, and he thought he'd give a shot to several superstars. Shane can understand the logic now. He brings up tonight's Owens versus Styles main event. He says Bryan didn't ban Sami Zayn from ringside, so we know how this will turn out. Shane goes on and says perception is reality, and he wants to make sure people don't think Bryan is showing favoritism, which they are saying. Shane wants to make sure his GM is beyond reproach. Bryan says AJ versus Owens was one of the most vicious rivalries of 2017. Alright, whatever. So he thought they would end the year with one match. Shane says okay, and just stares at Bryan. So there you go. More tension, and I like it. Because before it was just tension and having to do with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Now it's tension about more minor decisions, like Bryan making a tournament instead of just putting Baron Corbin, the former United States champion, and the former number one contender, Bobby Roode, in a match. Bryan wanted the tournament. Shane thought it would be more logical and more easy to just do Roode versus Corbin. I like that. Simple disagreements over actual booking. Over actual booking, bro. It's like one would think at home, like me thinking about this. When I'm trying to book these shows at home. Alright, so they can go this way. They can do Corbin versus Roode. But what would be the better option is to do a tournament. It'd be more exciting. You get more television out of that. So I like how they're arguing over that and how there's indecision at each and every single turn. It doesn't just have to do with this one thing. It's not just one catalyst. It's all these minor reasons as well that's building more and more tension. The only question here is what is going to be the outcome? And that is my question about this. You're building towards this so slowly. There's more and more tension marinating by the week with Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, and tonight's main event had a finish. That's also leading to more tension, and we will get to that if in case you didn't watch the show. But I mean, it's this tension each and every single week that's building, but the question is building to what? And so many people are hoping that it builds to Daniel Bryan versus Shane McMahon. At this point, with the amount of build they're doing, I think that's where they're going to go, because any other outcome would be disappointing. But at the same time, is WWE going to clear Daniel Bryan? And that's where a lot of the excitement comes from in this supposed rivalry that we're seeing between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan. So it's going to be interesting to see where this ends up. Is it going to end up in a match, or is it just going to end up with Shane McMahon choosing his representatives and Daniel Bryan choosing his? I hope it turns out the former, but I don't know, bro. I do not know. And that's what makes this so very interesting. Because it's interesting to even see Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon with this tension. You still have a lot of questions unanswered. One of those questions being, who in this situation is the face and who is the heel? Who is the face and who is the heel? Because it's, in one hand, Shane McMahon being compared to Vince McMahon, who clearly, Vince McMahon's character on WWE television is this wily egomaniac, right? And Shane McMahon is being compared to Daniel Bryan to Vince McMahon, but at the same time, Shane McMahon is seeing Daniel Bryan as maybe making some decisions that are foul, that maybe make no sense, and that maybe he's showing favoritism towards Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, or towards Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I should say. So there's that. There's a lot of layers to the story, and I like that a lot. And it's very slowly marinating, and that's another thing I like a lot. So I love the way WWE is handling this. So far, it's just a question of, first of all, who's the face or the heel, and who or what is going to be the result to all of this. Will it end up with an in-ring return for Daniel Bryan? For now, we move on here to the next segment, and I believe that would be the the Bludgeon Brothers versus Breezango. And the Ascension was involved in this because this was, by all intents and purposes, a squash match for Harper and Rowan. But this time, when they had the match won, they would not stop attacking. So it came down to the Ascension to come out and save Breezango, who's they've clearly been in the fashion files with for months now. So this is probably setting up a matchup between the Ascension and the Bludgeon Brothers, and I like that. They're slowly having the Bludgeon Brothers run through all of the tag team division. They had them break up the Hype Bros, which is very good for them. They're having them dismantle the team of Breezango, and now they're moving on to the Ascension, slowly but surely making their ways up the ranks. So I like that for the Ascension. We move on here to Dasha Fuentes, who tries to interview Breezango backstage, but the Ascension stops her, saying they are in no shape to be interviewed. They refer to Breezango as their best friends and say the Bludgeon Brothers went too far tonight. The Ascension issues a challenge to the Bludgeon Brothers for next week for a rematch against Breezango and warns them to get ready for the Wasteland. So there you go with that one. So it's next week going to be a rematch against Breezango. I thought it was going to be the Ascension versus the Bludgeon Brothers, but it's going to be a rematch against Breezango. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one pans out. Ruby Riott versus Naomi, like I said, I do not know. I did not watch this. Ruby Riott won this matchup. I don't know what that resulted in. Probably some rubbish Royal Rumble build. And y'all already know, if you've seen any of my other videos in the past week, probably besides the top 10, why I do not favor this Royal Rumble match, this women's Royal Rumble match even happening. Renee Young is backstage with AJ Styles. Fans in the arena chant AJ's name loudly. AJ doesn't care if Daniel Bryan is showing favorites because when he steps in the ring, he is the favorite. AJ says he started the year as champion and he's ending it as champion. So if Kevin Owens wants to have Sami Zayn lurking in his corner tonight, that's fine, because this is the land of opportunity. AJ says a shot isn't going to be handed to Owens because that's not how it works in life or when you're on the same brand as AJ Styles. AJ says if Owens is going to beat him tonight, he's going to have to outwork him, outsmart him, and out-hustle him. AJ says that didn't happen in 2017, and it won't happen tonight. AJ says 2018 will be no different because SmackDown will still be the house that AJ Styles built. Very nicely done by the phenomenal one. Baron Corbin versus Bobby Roode. This was an okay 10-minute match, and I'm glad this happened in the first round and not the last round, but this was pretty much Roode got Corbin with the roll-up, the fruit roll-up, which, why is it, and I was reading about this on Twitter, I was reading people complaining about this on Twitter as well, Why is it that every time Baron Corbin is in some big type match scenario where he needs to win, he loses via roll-up? It's ridiculous. Or they at least tease him with the roll-up. It's ridiculous. The Money in the Bank match. How did Jinder Mahal beat Baron Corbin? Roll-up. Here tonight, when he was in a #1 contenders tournament for the United States title, how does he lose? Via fruit roll-up. It is ridiculous, bro. It's like Baron Corbin's biggest weakness is being caught by surprise with a goddamn roll-up. And it was Bobby Roode, who was about to be chokeslammed by Corbin, sunset flip into roll-up. So there you go with that one. Baron Corbin loses this match. Where Baron Corbin goes from here, I don't know. But this tournament, and especially after seeing the next match, this tournament was clearly going to end, or is clearly going to end, in Jinder Mahal against Bobby Roode at the Royal Rumble. And at that point, whoever wins the United States Championship, it is beyond me, but hopefully it's Bobby Roode. Hopefully it's Bobby Roode, but I can very well see Jinder Mahal winning the United States Championship at the Royal Rumble, and then you can proceed to go towards the John Cena versus Jinder Mahal match that you were originally planning for the WWE Championship, which sounds awful, but you can have that stereotypical, oh my god, Jinder Mahal is this foreign nemesis. He is the foreign nemesis, and John Cena must take him down, the American hero. They always do that one, right? It would be perfect. We proposed the idea, so many people proposed the idea from the jump that Jinder Mahal was holding the wrong title. He should have done this 6-month reign or whatever the hell it was with the United States Championship, because it's the United States Championship. He is this foreign nemesis. It makes sense in that regard, and on top of that, it wouldn't have made Jinder Mahal the focal point of WWE television for goddamn months. It seems like WWE is finally taking the right step with Jinder Mahal this time around, and he is going to take a step down to the United States title if he gets past Bobby Roode to begin with, which I hope he doesn't, because you already know I much rather see Bobby Roode and Jinder Mahal, or Bobby Roode as United States Champion rather than Jinder Mahal, but they got to keep utilizing Jinder Mahal on WWE television, and what better way to do that than to give him the United States Championship and have him go against John Cena at WrestleMania. That's realistically what I see WWE doing there. Do I want that to happen? No. But is it probably going to be the result of this? Yes, because the next matchup was Ty Dillinger versus Jinder Mahal. Ty Dillinger was on SmackDown Live television for the first time in God knows how long, probably since October, when he was at Hell in a Cell fighting for the United States Championship. He's on television for the first time, and what do you have him do? Lose to Jinder Mahal. At least the matchup was crappy and short, but I mean, it is ridiculous. You could have easily had Ty Dillinger versus somebody else in this tournament that he could just run through, somebody who doesn't matter, and had Ty Dillinger at least go to the second round. But now that's not even going to be the case. The end of this tournament is going to be Jinder Mahal versus Bobby Roode. How we get there, I don't know. I'm interested to see who the other 4 competitors in this tournament are, and we're probably going to find out next week on SmackDown Live. So that is what we've seen here tonight as far as the United States Championship Open Challenge goes. Nothing too crazy, but for now, we move on here. Dasha Fuentes was backstage with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Owens has a bottle of champagne for after tonight's main event win. Owens says this is a special bottle, the one that Daniel Bryan wouldn't take from them last week. Owens says the last time he faced AJ Styles, there was a special referee, you know, the one that has a lot of money and likes to shuffle his feet around. Sami Zayn, yep. Vince McMahon's son, yep. Owens says Shane did everything he could to make sure Owens lost that match, yep. But tonight, he will do whatever it takes, and he has a guardian angel on his side, yep. Owens says Bryan believes in them, and knows they will need the champagne for tonight. Yep, Owens says he will prove he's better than the phenomenal one tonight, and Sami Zayn gives that a double yep in response. Owens says Dasha and no one in Chicago is invited to their celebration tonight. Owens says only he and Sami are invited to their celebration, which they called a private party. You know, because they wouldn't want it to seem like they were gloating or anything. Owens walks off and Sami follows after another yep to Dasha Fuentes. We then go to Renee Young, who is backstage with Randy Orton, who says he's been dealing with everyone's issues but his own lately. He's been sticking his nose where it doesn't belong, and he has himself to worry about now. Orton says he is looking forward to the future and is only concerning himself with throwing 29 other superstars over the top rope. Orton officially enters himself in the Royal Rumble match. Shinsuke Nakamura appears and apparently announces himself for the match with a "Let's Rumble" line before walking off, leaving Orton looking confused. And Orton was like, what did he say? I mean, it's ridiculous. They got Nakamura looking like some PG, god-awful. I mean, Nakamura was a killer in NXT. Didn't say much, wasn't comedic, and he was handled perfectly. He really was. Now he's handled like some comedic joke on SmackDown Live. It's ridiculous. It really is. But Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura are in the Royal Rumble as expected. And I would go as far as to tell you that Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be the winner of the Royal Rumble. But if you ask me, I'm sitting here questioning whatever happened to qualifying matches for the Royal Rumble. Isn't that a good idea? Yep, that is a good idea. Why not have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn qualify for the Royal Rumble in the coming weeks on SmackDown Live? I don't think that's going to be a bad idea. That'd be a great idea. It gives the Royal Rumble more stakes. It makes it feel bigger that people are qualifying for this match. But of course, WWE doesn't think of that one, right? Right? It's an easy excuse to have yourself a nice main event on SmackDown Live. But again, WWE doesn't think of that one, right? Anyways, we go to AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens. This was a fantastic match, or not a fantastic match, but a very good match, especially a TV match. What these two guys, it looks like these two guys were trying to just end the year off with a bang here tonight, and I think that's exactly what they did. Very, very nice match between Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. They were actually doing some new stuff. Kevin Owens came off the second rope with like a spinning elbow. It was cool. It really was. That was a near fall in this matchup. You had Kevin Owens go for the rolling bomb that he does in the corner, and it was AJ Styles who caught him, hit a nice Uranagi, but in the end it was the bullshit ending which ended SmackDown Live here tonight, which ended the final SmackDown Live of the year, because it was Shane McMahon who came down after AJ Styles jumped onto Sami Zayn, hit a crossbody on Zayn to the outside. Zayn got pissed off, so he got on the apron, and that distracted AJ Styles from, I think, going for the phenomenal forearm on Owens. So Shane McMahon came down and ejected Sami Zayn from ringside when Sami Zayn really didn't do anything. He was just pissed off, which Daniel Bryan might use that as a way to say, like, he really wasn't doing anything. He was just pissed off because AJ Styles jumped onto him when he was just telling Kevin Owens what to do. So maybe that's going to be Daniel Bryan's argument next week. But Shane McMahon came down, was telling the referee to eject Sami Zayn, and while the referee was ejecting Sami Zayn and making sure that Zayn was gone, AJ Styles got a roll-up, which was a 1-2-3, which would have beat Kevin Owens, but the referee was not seeing that. He did not count it. So after the match, or after that spot right there, AJ Styles started to argue with the referee, which allowed Kevin Owens to get a roll-up, and it was counted 1-2-3. AJ Styles is pinned. Kevin Owens pins the WWE Champion. And this excites me because it seems like they are going to go towards the Royal Rumble with a triple threat match. I don't know how you're going to get there. I don't know how you're going to make it. So Shane McMahon agrees to put both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a triple threat match for the WWE Championship. But I can very easily see it being AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. And the story there is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have the upper hand over AJ Styles because it is a 2-on-1, and going into it, they perceive it as a handicap match, but the first person who gets the pin in that match, who tries to go for a pin on AJ Styles in that match, that starts the arguing between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and it's only a matter of time before Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn start to be at each other's throat. It's a matter of who turns on who going into WrestleMania. So I think it's going to be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn finally getting that long-sought WrestleMania match. And then again, it's just a matter of who turns on who, and I think that can start at the Royal Rumble. So tell me what you guys think of that. I would do Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and AJ Styles in a triple threat at the Royal Rumble to kickstart the feud of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn going into WrestleMania. And that's how AJ Styles retains his WWE Championship, where he, of course, will go into WrestleMania against Shinsuke Nakamura. So that's what I would do on that front. And besides that, that's all that happens on SmackDown Live here tonight. So tension continues to build, and it looks like we have a WWE Championship match dead set locked for the Royal Rumble, and I like it. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be your SmackDown Live review. I hope you enjoyed each and every single thing that you heard on this week's edition of your SmackDown Live review. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Like I said, if you have not subscribed yet, I do not know what you're waiting for. Make sure to comment what you thought of SmackDown Live tonight and reply to the question of the day, as well as to make sure to go check out all the other content. Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, pay-per-view reviews, NXT TakeOver specials, all that good stuff. Top 10s, all that great stuff right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. So make sure to go check all that out, because for now, this has been Joel Perez over Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. And for now, I am out of here. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I will see you tomorrow for your top 10 worst superstars of 2017.